He's going to come out with one job.
Remember I'm saying this, he's going to make Canelo quit. Remember I'm saying this.
You've said it for a while. So do you think, why do you think Canelo will quit? Let's start there. Why do you think Canelo will quit?
Out of pure frustration, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Did you watch when Team Canelo walked past Team Saunders?
And they called them pussies, yeah.
Have you ever seen Canelo break like that?
I agree with you. I was saying this to Ben the other week. You've never seen Canelo in this sort of way. And I think those sort of mind games, even those little percentages, they help you to even just unsettle someone. So I do agree with you in that sort of sense, yes.
And you've got a guy that's going to be in front of you that can box. I think Roy Jones said it. The two boxers that Canelo ever fought, one he lost to, well, two he lost to, but one of the decisions weren't given it for him, which was Mayweather and Lara. And Billy Joe Saunders can box and has the heart. And he has some power. Now, not as scary as Triple G, but we've never known Billy Joe to be a peak Billy Joe Saunders, which we have now. It's going to be an amazing fight.
Mm-hmm. What about, so you mentioned about, Billy Joe Saunders coming down, Canelo's coming up the weights. Who's the more natural super middleweight out of the two of them?
Billy Joe Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because, I don't know. I think they're both equal, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't see Canelo fighting the top three in light heavy, do you?
No.
You see him fight, and he runs off, for Kovalev, who was a beaten man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mean anything. You see him fighting Callum Smith, who was beaten by Ryder. Doesn't mean anything. You see him beat Amir Khan, who was a beaten fighter, who had come back, rushed into it, drained himself to make, to come up a weight or whatever. You just look at all his fights. Trout, Jacobs, past his peak. You see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Canelo has been well hyped. He was the franchise champion. So people are going to obviously fall for the hype. But I genuinely believe, I'm not just saying it because, one, he's my mate, and two, I'm in the team. I genuinely believe he beats him.
Okay, so one thing that some fans think that there's a negative towards Billy Joe is potentially he might not have the stamina to sustain the 12 rounds. We've seen in some fights Billy Joe Saunders takes a few rounds off to then come back and build up the fight.
It's a fair comment.
Mm.
And he's not done himself any favors. He's given the ammunition to people.
Mm-hmm.
But in this camp, like Greg says, he's a nutritionist. Well, we've not had to worry about the weight in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
We know he's strong, he's fit, his oxygen level's up, blood level's perfect, everything's right. He's perfect, he's strong, he's resting right, he's peaked right. So imagine what Billy Joe Saunders is going to be when he's fit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're going to see.
I think the other side of it I wanted to ask you about is activity. I think Tyson's made mention of activity is massive, and Billy Joe Saunders hasn't been as active as Canelo has been. Does that sort of play into Canelo's hands?
Certain fighters rise to the occasion. You look at people like Billy Joe Saunders, Tyson Fury, who was inactive and went straight into the deep end with Wilder, and he performed one of his career best. Mm-hmm. And I believe with Billy Joe Saunders, I believe the tougher the opposition, the better he performs. Mm-hmm. Just one of those things.
Why do you believe that? You've been in the camp with him, so what is it you've seen that makes you know for certain that he will do that? Rise to the occasion.
Mentality. And it's simply about certain camps about making weight and certain camps about performing. Mm-hmm. And this camp has been about performing, not been worrying about weight. They've had a good 12-week camp. They've done very, very well. Everything's on point. Sparring's well, conditions are well, food's well, resting well. Everything's just perfect. Everyone in the team's done a phenomenal job.
And if Billy Joe were to win, you're confident that will be the case. How big of a victory is that?
One of the biggest upsets in boxing history for the casuals. Mm. But for me, not a surprise at all, because we know Lara beat him. We know, Amir Khan was cruising until he got clipped. We know Triple G beat him. Mayweather's already beaten him. So it's not a great achievement. It's a phenomenal achievement, don't get me wrong. But it just cements what I've always said from day one. For the casuals, it'll be like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. No, the biggest upset was probably Mike Tyson when he got beat by Buster Douglas. What Tyson Fury did with Deontay Wilder was a major achievement. What he did against Klitschko was a big upset. So, as in the biggest upset in boxing history, for me, no. Just, I expected it.
Give me a prediction then. You said he'll make him quit. How does the fight play out, and what round does it end in?
Round 9. Round 9, he can't take no more. Humiliated. He gets schooled early, tries to go for the kill round 5, 6, realizes he can't do it. Billy Joe steps up the gas, intimidates him in his face, and I think Canelo says, you know what, I've had enough. And says, I'm not going out. He's humiliated.